I say, out of nervousness, shall I put on my raspberry beret so we can party like it's 1999 and go out in your little red Corvette? And Prince says, no.
Somebody gonna cue me or do I cue myself?
Cue yourself.
Okay. Hey everybody, we're back with another Let's Talk Off Camera, so let's get talking. Woo! Today we'll be joined by the uber talented Emmy and Tony award-winning actress. Ooh, Emmy and Tony.
Yeah.
Only needs 2 more. Oscar and Grammy.
She could do that.
Oh, no problem.
Easily.
No, all day in her sleep. She's a New York Times bestselling author. Kristin Chenoweth is here. Gosh, I love her. Pushing Daisies, Schmigadoon, The West Wing, Glee. In Broadway's You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. And of course, OG.
Yeah.
Wicked. She's now starring, by the way, in case you're curious why she's here, in Netflix Our Little Secret with Lindsay Lohan, which we will get into with her. We should also talk to her about Barry Sonnenfeld. They're very close.
Yes. And Queen of Versailles.
Oh, and Queen of Versailles, which I feel like I discovered, by the way. I was
played that role.
No, but I was early bandwagon Queen of Versailles.
Really?
I remember when I read about it and I said to Burkhard, we were away, and I said, you need to get me a link so that I can watch Queen of Versailles. And we watched it as a family, and I don't think anybody recovered fully. Still scarred. Listen, before we check in with Kristin, let's check in with my long-suffering producers. What's going on with you two?
We haven't spoken about Sunset Boulevard. Are you not?
I can't stop singing.
Right?
Oh my God, I can't.
What were they were in show standing ovations like during the?
There were at least 3. I lost count, but in show standing ovations, and I mean long-term, like it's the end of the show, standing ovations. Wow. And I was like, I was always the first person back in my seat, not because I didn't also enthusiastically love the song, but I was like, guys, some of us host morning shows.
So we need to get the show on the road. Let's go.
And we have to get beyond the first song.
What were they doing? Was she just standing there and?
They would stand and like literally like,
stop.
And I'm like, she's got to get out of that position.
Stop
before
applauding.
Her body breaks down. I mean, it was just brilliant. It is. I can't say it enough.
You're right. You said it on the air. It is a run, don't walk situation.
I can't wait to see
it is so good. And again, Mark Consuelo stayed awake.
Kyle and I were going deep about it after we saw it on Saturday, like a matinee, knowing that they were going. He's like, Mark's going to love it because it's so cinematic. Like there's a lot of movie. You feel like you're inside of a movie while it's happening. Yeah. It's.
Ding, ding.
Yeah.
And the kid that played.
Yes. Hold on. Well, we went to school with Joaquin. We're like 90 years old today. Hold on.
This podcast is brought to you by Ginkgo biloba. If only the host could remember to take it.
Oh, yeah. Diego Andres Rodriguez.
Yes. Diego Andres Rodriguez. He's so great in it. And he's in the same program Joaquin was in.
Wow.
And when he was a senior, I think Joaquin was a freshman, and he took Joaquin under his wing.
Wow.
Joaquin thought he was heads and tails, just like a righteous dude. Mm-hmm. Went out of his way to be welcoming to the incoming class, and they were in a student film together, and Joaquin was like, that kid is going places, and sure enough, that kid is going.
And he's
places.
very prominent in this, he's
very prominent, and he's the understudy.
Yeah. Oh, get out! The Joe Gillis
for the Joe Gillis.
Wow.
It's not Joe Gillis.
The character is Tom Francis.
Yeah, Tom Francis. Right. Joe Gillis is the character.
Wow.
I'm getting my tickets before this episode comes out so that I can get tickets and I'm not going to get screwed. And Kristin's available.
Oh, she's ready?
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if she's seen
it.
We
got to ask her.
I could see her jumping into that role.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Look through these.
Oh, no.
Look through these glasses. Hi. I just want you to see that my glasses are so dirty that I actually see better without them on right now. Was I storing these in a bag of potato chips?
Welcome to my I have a pair, Kelly, in every purse.
Yeah.
At every where I can reach, and they're all filthy.
Yeah.
These are not clean.
No, but yours at least look clean. I'm just like, now I'm using my shirt. Okay. We were singing your praises before you logged on, and then I was giving my theater review of Sunset Boulevard. Have you seen it?
No, I'm going to go very soon because I'm hearing that it's incredible.
It will knock your socks off. And I was thinking, I was like, you know who could jump in there? When Nicole's run is up, there's like one person I can think of that can just jump right. Like I'm talking, what do they call it?
Turnkey.
Plug and play.
Yeah.
Plug and play. You, you could totally do that role because I think
it's a great part.
It's such a commentary. It's such a modern day commentary that here. Like, I was like, how are they going to make Nicole Scherzinger look old? Like, what are they going to do to make her look old?
Right.
And
I'm wondering the same thing because I haven't seen it.
Well, here's the spoiler alert. They don't make her look old. They let her be.
Bingo.
Exactly. They let her be luminous, gorgeous, 46-year-old Nicole Scherzinger. But they talk about her like she's a million years old. Yeah. And it is such a commentary.
My mind is blown right now because you and I have been at it for a minute.
Yeah.
And there was one day where I was like, there was a comment made to me in a show I was working on. The guy said, well, dear, listen, dear. And I don't know what happened to me. I don't know if you've ever had this moment. But when he called me that, I said, I'm not dear. I'm not dear. When I'm 80, you can call me dear. But at this point, I had just turned 50. I said, and I think maybe I was a little self-conscious about it. Maybe, I don't know. But I was like, first of all, you're the young, hot thing. You've heard it how it goes. Then you're you. And then now they're looking for a young you. And now you're dear. And they're such in a hurry to push us out to the pasture, which is why Hacks, we all love Hacks so much.
It's like speaks to us, speaks to all of us. And, it's so funny. I did this thing for L'Oreal on social media. And they asked me to apply they're like, would you apply skin cream? Because I did like a silly video where I was putting makeup on and people were like fascinated by it. I guess because I don't really post very often and I certainly never post anything interesting. It's always like pictures of Mark or pictures of the dogs or like I'm very like I'm not for a person in show business, and I'm sure you're the same, like I'm not very interested in social media. And so I was like, they're like, would you do it without makeup and put on moisturizer? And I was like, I don't actually know how to put on moisturizer with makeup. I have never, like, is that a thing? Do people put on moisturizer over makeup? So I, as myself, in my bathroom, and I had like a camera. I got like a suction cup thing and I stuck my camera to the thing. And I was like thrilled with how I looked. Because I have a healthy sense of self. And I guess I am used to looking at myself, thought I looked adorable, and I put my moisturizer on. And so there were hundreds of comments where people were like, oh my God, I haven't seen her since All My Children. She's really aged. And I was like, oh, my children. Let me think. Was that a show I was on? Oh, I don't know, 25 years ago? Have I aged at least 25 years? Or would you say more?
Probably.
Right. Would you say I've aged more than the 25 years? I'm just curious.
I experienced this exact thing. And I don't know if it's because we're very similar in that we're petite. Our energy is young, but like, just not because you said it. I'm just going to tell you right now, you look freaking amazing. You look freaking amazing. And I do the same thing. I did the same thing, Kelly. I don't do makeup tutorials, but this summer when I was doing Queen of Versailles in Boston, I got some new makeup stuff and I thought maybe I'll show them how I do my makeup for the thing. And I didn't even know I was going to do that. I went live anyway, people were like, Tales from the Crypt.
Wow.
Wow.
I hear Crypt Keeper 35 times a day, and that's with makeup. I mean, honestly.
Same. I'm like, dang, I'm doing makeup and I've had some Botox and I look like a Crypt Keeper. I do show me without makeup all the time.
Me
I
too.
want people to see the real thing.
I didn't think it was that big a deal, but apparently people were very offended by the fact that I had dared to age. We're supposed to maintain the age we were the first time we stepped into people's psyche. I don't know how to get around that.
I will tell people, listen, I'm going to die trying. I'm going to always try. And I think you're probably similar. We want to look our best. That doesn't mean we want to look how we did when we hit it. You at the young age, and I was in my 20s too. I don't even want to play those roles. I'm not trying to. And then I get this. I bet you do too. Well, you can't play a grandmother. You don't really fit because you look younger than you are, but your age would be correct to play that. I'm just like, can you just cast the best person for the part and not worry about it? If I am that person, great.
I'm going to tell you something. Demi Moore, we had on this here podcast, and she told us, because I was like, oh, you've never really had a dry spell, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh, no. She's like, I had a tremendous dry spell, because she said once she got into her 40s and 50s, she was too young to be an older woman and too old to be a younger woman, and they didn't know what the fuck to do with her. And so apparently women our age, we are supposed to evaporate for at least 10 years.
We are.
We're supposed to go away and then reemerge
and come
as
back.
a sexy 60-something.
Well, I had a casting director tell my people, oh, I just love her. Has she decided whether to cross over yet?
What does that
Just wait for
mean,
it.
crossover?
Into character women land. Like, is she going to go gray? Is she going to gain weight? I'm like, have you seen these women like Allison Janney looking fabulous?
Right.
Demi Moore, another example. Look at you, for example. We're in our 50s. Well, I'm not actually sure how old you are, Kelly.
No,
but
we're in our 50s.
I'm in my 50s.
Yeah, I'm in my 50s.
Yeah,
and I'm in my...
What if I never want to cross over?
I'm in what I like to call the comfortable age of not giving two shits. I honestly
sister.
don't.
Preach.
Yeah, I don't
Preach.
care. I honestly don't care. And so
Same.
I'm sort of like Teflon in that way. Like, people say crazy, offensive shit to me all the time, out loud to my face, as they do you.
Oh, me too. Oh my gosh, you're so much prettier in person.
In person.
Deadly.
And I'm like, shh, don't tell anybody that. I'd rather have people be deluded into thinking I'm this monster that they see on camera every day. First of all, let's get to your 1-year wedding anniversary. Congratulations. Josh Bryant, what did you do to celebrate?
Well, our happy place is, like for many people, is Cabo. What we did is we had dinner on the beach. And I want to tell you, Kelly, I did something really wacko. I don't know if it's menopause. I don't know if I'm just what it is. But when I woke up that morning, because it was also Josh's birthday, okay? We got married on his birthday. So I'm going to set the scene for you as briefly as I can. I have his birthday and anniversary gift and everything waiting for him to wake up because I'm anal and crazy. And he wakes up and he's very, he's like this. He's like, whatever. He's just that guy. And he loved it. And we had a great moment. And I'm thinking, okay, now where's mine? That's where I'm thinking, where's mine? But okay, it's not happening. We're now at lunch. Okay, now I know we have dinner on the beach. He hasn't said anything. And by the way, I'm not really I don't need a lot of nice gifts. I just want that acknowledgement.
But it's your wedding anniversary. It's the first one. You waited
The
a
first
while to get married. And it's like, there should be a bauble. I don't want to hear about it's the paper anniversary. It's the paper anniversary. They're all the diamond anniversaries, all of them.
Hey, man, sister. So we go to dinner, and by the time we hit dinner, what do you think my brain is? He doesn't, like, is it going to be a card? Is it just the dinner? Which is, by the way, how many people would just love that? I mean, I'm being a little selfish here, but I'm sitting there and I'm starting to get like I might cry. Then he pays the check, and I'm like, or, we get it to our room and we're walking back. And by the time we get to the front door of our villa, I'm like, I see tear going down my cheek. And he goes, what's the matter? I go, it just feels like it's not that important to you. And he goes, okay. He opens the door. There are rose petals. There is a bubble bath, which he knows I love. There is a beautiful gift from Prada laying on the bed.
Oh, no.
The most amazing card. And then he pulls out his guitar and he's written me a song.
No.
Like, okay. I am an idiot. I just said, honey.
You should have controlled that tear for like 5 seconds longer.
Seconds. 5. And you know what I said? Can we talk about this tomorrow? Because I just want to enjoy this moment. He goes, yes. And so the next day I said, I need to tell you something. I apologize. I'm sorry for that behavior. And he goes, you know what? I should have said, today's going to be a long day. So he goes, but it's just interesting to me that as I've been with this man 6 years and we are still learning.
Oh, I've been with Mark for 30 years and he has no idea who I am. And I said, I knew my birthday was coming up and I grabbed my assistant and I go, come here, Lauren. She's like, what? And I go, whatever he's planning, you need to tell him no. I was like, just
yes.
Have him work with me. Tell him to come to me. I will guide him into the shop he needs to go.
I will. I'm sending him to you next September 2nd.
I will take him.
I'm going to. I'm not kidding. But A, B, I love everything you wear. Listen, we are tiny peanuts, and we're not going to apologize for it.
No.
That's the way God put us together. I got his jersey. You're going to love this. You know that show, Jason Sudeikis?
Yeah.
Ted Lasso. I love that show so much. So I tweet about it a lot. So he sends me this jersey, a Ted Lasso jersey for their like 3rd season, like if I want to wear it. And I'm like, of course. And on the back, it said my size. It was a 00. So I did a post and my social media team's like, oh, we have to take that down. And I said, how come? Because some people are offended or triggered by your size. And I said, you know what? I don't care. That's my size. There's nothing I can do about it. If you don't think it's a pain that I have to pay a tailor to basically live across the street from me to come over and take everything. And by the way, people are like, when? Kelly, this is something else I'm graduated from. I'm tired of apologizing for, people say, oh, when, you're so little. I think we know how hard it is to be whittled.
No, it's literally, you can't. I mean, I've had to stand on chairs to talk to people just to get my opinion heard.
I mean, why do you think I have a loud voice? I've had to scream to be heard my whole life.
Oh my God, if I had your voice,
I'm down here.
There'd be no living with me. Can you imagine if I had her voice?
Oh my God,
I would sing every interview. I would just be singing constantly.
I would love it.
So Jan was saying this very funny thing that I don't believe, but maybe you're gonna. I'm going to get to it.
Help me, Chris.
Kristen, you're going to help funny. Jan. Okay, so they say that you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince. But is it true that you went on a date with Prince? Okay, so they say that you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince. But is it true that you went on a date with Prince?
It is 100% factual.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. I'm your producer for a reason.
Okay. Tell me everything. Start at the beginning. How did you meet?
Oh my!
Now Jan is doing a victory lap around the card table.
Card table.
Well, Jan, I got to give it to you because I didn't really talk about it much because I cherish, friendships with people and I don't need to advertise stuff and I don't want them to feel weird. You know what I mean? But when he passed away, I did say in an interview that we had dated. First of all, I was doing a show called Pushing Daisies. My then manager called me and said, Prince wants your number. And I hung up on her. I thought she's, punking me.
I would have
At
been
that
like,
time,
Prince
that was a big-
Charles?
I know, right? Exactly. So, next thing I know, this lady named Ruth is texting me. I got your number from your manager. I am Prince's assistant, and he would love to have you over for dinner. Now, I was in shock. I was frozen in time. I was Elsa from freaking whatever that movie is. I was dying. And I thought, is he confusing me with someone? So anyway, long story short, I wrote them. I said, hi, yeah, okay. And then I thought, oh, he just wants to talk about music. And, so I don't know, I wasn't new to LA, but I had my little car, and I drive up to his neighborhood where you have to show your passport. And I drove up to his thing. And,
like, was there a gate?
Is
there a gate? And so I'm picturing. So first of all, so I can't believe you drove there. I thought for sure like a purple limousine would pull up.
Oh no.
And then gates would open.
No, I even think I declined. I think I declined Kelly a ride because I think I wanted to be because I'm independent. I'll drive. Well, honk honk. I show up to this gate, and it's where Madonna lives and Paul McCartney, all these people. So I go in, and then I get to his gate, and it has this. It was when he was the symbol. So I get let in, and there's a lady. It's the hugest thing. It's the size of a parking lot. His, just the front of his house. So I park by myself. I'm like, where do I park? So I just parked kind of close to the front door. There's a chef standing there. She's like, hi, welcome. Prince will be ready in a minute. And I'm going to take you to the library.
So
we go into
the chef called Prince.
Yes.
Okay. Because when he goes by the symbol, I'd be like, what do you call him? Hey, you.
Yeah, she probably, maybe she did that to help me out because I was confused too and very nervous. And I remember thinking my Gap outfit probably wasn't nice enough. I had chosen a shirt from the Gap. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I go to the library.
Wait. Go back. Gap or Gap Kids?
Well, if it's a jacket, I can do the Gap Kids. Okay. Anyway, so we go to the library. First of all, the hallway is the size of the White House. The hallway itself is huge. So I'm walking. I get to the library. I'm waiting in there, and I'm looking at all the books. And I see amazing, just everything that he's read. I see, the Bible. I see a book about Rumi, who's what happens to be one of my favorite philosophers. I'm looking at all the things that he's got, and all of a sudden I hear, this is true, click, 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 click.
The high
click,
heels.
click, and I hear, yes, he's coming. It took forever because he was down at the other end of the football field, and I'm just so nervous. And finally he arrives in full beat. He's gorgeous.
Jacket,
gorgeous.
Purple lame, black lame. What's going on? Ruffles?
It was all white.
All white.
It was all white. A silk shirt and silk pants, and then the white boots that lit up in the heel when he walked.
No. Like
Yes.
our kids used to have those Heelys. Remember? They would light up.
Yep.
Yes. Uh-huh.
He walks in the door, and what do I say? I wish I could go back in time and redo this. I say, out of nervousness, shall I put on my raspberry beret so we can party like it's 1999 and go out in your little red Corvette? and he says, no.
No. But he says it just
not.
Flat. No.
Yes.
He says,
And I say, no. And I say, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. And he said, okay, just put all that aside and let's it just be me and you. And I said, thank you. And he put me at such ease. Then we went, and I don't eat fish or anything from the sea. Then we go to this table. It's like the table in Game of Thrones. It's the longest thing you've ever seen. And we're sitting there. I'm kind of beside him, and we're talking about music and faith and a bunch of stuff and age. A lot of great things he had to say. But it's salmon. It's salmon. And I hear my mother, you eat it, you choke it down. You eat it, you swallow it, you do whatever you have to do. Well, I decided to put it in my napkin. So I chewed a little bit and put it in my napkin. Before I know it, my napkin's full of salmon. Anyway, there's a PS to that. We talked about age, and because I said, now how old are you? And he said, I don't know. I don't do age. And he said, and you shouldn't either, because it doesn't matter. It's how we feel and how we take care of ourselves. I go, well, what's a roundabout? A roundabout. He goes, I don't know. I mean, doesn't matter. And he said, don't care about that. And it was so sweet. And then we had a great talk about God. We have, alignment there that we believe in the afterlife and Holy Spirit. Then he says, you want to go see my guitar collection? I say, well, is the Pope Catholic? So we go down there. And by the way, we really were getting along. We go down and there's 200 guitars in this beautiful room lined up, just sitting in their stands. And he goes, pick one up. Because he goes, I know you play, and I don't play very good, but I picked one up, and I choose this long neck, white thing. And I turned over, and it was all scratched on the other side. And I said, what's that? And he goes, Elvis's belt. And I said, that's hot. And he started laughing, and he goes, this is the part that gets me. And I get emotional when I think about it. He said, can I show you something that inspires me? And I said, yeah. So we go to his movie room, and I'm sitting there, and he's like, what, popcorn? I'm like, yeah. So we get all the snacks. And all of a sudden, I had done this opera by Leonard Bernstein called Candide. I did it for great performances with the New York Philharmonic. And in some circles, it might be one of the best things I've done. And
in all circles. One of the best things anybody's ever done.
Thank you. There's this aria called Glitter and Be Gay. It's very, very difficult. It's vocal gymnastics, coloratura. And he pushes play. And I say, oh no. And he goes, no, we're watching the whole thing. I said, oh no. He made me watch myself. And at the end, he said, what you do with your voice is what I do with the guitar. And he said, it inspires me. I play it a lot. I play it on a regular basis. And I got emotional. I said, oh my gosh, Prince, really? Are you serious? And he goes, oh yeah, you inspire me. And he tried to talk to me about leaving Sony. I'm just being honest, because I was with Sony Classical at the time. He goes, I'll give you a song I wrote if you leave. And I said, I'm not you. I can't afford to leave them. Because of fear and what I had been told, I did not leave Sony when I had Prince saying, let me do this for you. And then at the end of the dinner, I had, of course, a 6 a.m. call the next morning. And he goes, I'm going down to Orange County to play with Sheila E. He goes, you want to go? And I said, I can't believe I'm going to say no to this, but I have a 6 a.m. call. And he goes, you have a good work ethic. And I said, listen, I must be insane. I should go. By now it's like 10 p.m. He goes, that's okay. There'll be other chances. And then we stayed in touch. And then I was nominated for an Emmy, and he watched me as I lose. He texts me and says, this is a true story. He said, I want to give a concert tonight in honor of you and your work and what you've put in the world. Come over, invite anybody you want to. So I'm inviting people I don't know. Like, at that time, I didn't know Mary Louise Parker. I'm like, you want to go? She's like, yeah. There was about 50 people. He did a 3-hour set that night. I never went home. I went directly to Warner Brothers for my work day the next day. And what's weird about it is I had brought a date to the Emmys. And after the concert, Ruth said, now Prince wants to see you after. And I didn't know what to do with my date, right? Because I really liked my date. But I never thought Prince was a date. So he comes up to me, and I said, I should introduce you to my date. And he said, oh, hi. He was very lovely. And then he pulled me aside, and I'll never forget it. He said, I think you're beautiful, and I love you. I love you in all the best ways, not the, oh, I love you, I've got to have you. He goes, I would love to date you. That first date was so fun. That's when I learned it was a date. That first date we had was so fun. And then he said, but I want you to remember, no matter where you go, who you are and what you're worth. And from that point on, Prince checked in with me every so often to say, I saw you did that. Are you sure you feel good about that? Or I love this here, what you did. And then eventually, we became friends. And it was not something I bragged about or talked about. even though I invited my whole cast to Pushing Daisies, and Chi McBride had my trailer filled with roses the next day because he said, I'll never get that. I'll never be able to repay you for getting to meet him and be at that concert. That concert was the most amazing thing. And I told him, I said, you know, Michael might be the king of pop, but you're the king of funk.
Right.
You're amazing. And that guy can dance, and he was amazing, and he inspired me. So that was our relationship.
But
and I know that was a long story.
At a certain point, though, didn't you want
The best story.
It was the best story we've ever heard. Like literally, Albert is levitating.
Levitating.
Here's what I want to know: was there a moment that you wanted to send your date off with Mary Louise Parker?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And I really liked him, and we ended up dating for a while, but yes. And even he was like, man, I dumped me. It was cute.
Yeah.
It was cute. But you know, here's the truth. I had trouble getting over the fact it was Prince.
Yes.
I couldn't get over it because to me, he was very formidable in my years of growing up. And I think he knew that about me, that I couldn't get past it. But boy, was he a great mentor. And when he passed away, first of all, I was shocked. I cried. I just cried buckets. And every once in a while, I cry about it still, because today in hot yoga, they play Prince to end the class with. And I was like getting emotional because I think there are some people that have walked this planet that are still should be here.
Oh, 100%. And he is one of them. And he was just... Mm-hmm. I mean, I've got so many Prince stories, but none that are connected to me in any way. Like the first time I saw Prince, I was in the last row of the Philadelphia Spectrum with my scalped ticket. It was the Purple Rain tour. It was incredible. And then flash forward, he gave a benefit concert at the what's that fancy schmancy school out in the Hamptons?
The Ross School?
The Ross School, yeah. He gave a benefit concert, and Mark didn't tell me, but he bought me surprise tickets, and we were right in the front row. And I burst into tears because Mark knew I loved Prince, and I always told him this story, like Prince was so far away, but he filled the stadium. Like Prince, I was so far away from Prince, I could barely see him, but he filled the arena. You know, and then to see him up close, and it was just the greatest. It was the greatest night, and it was just it was so exciting to me. So I know exactly how you feel. I think I would have died. Like I would have gotten a call from, was his assistant Ruth?
Yes. Ruth was her name.
Ruth would have said, "Hi, I'm Prince's assistant. He wants you to come over for dinner," and I would have just died of a stroke. That would have been it.
I almost passed away myself.
Yeah, I would
almost
have definitely passed away.
I mean, he said, "I want you to play my piano." Now his piano because I play the piano, and he said, "I just want you to play it. It was designed for me." Well, what he meant, because he was not much taller than you or I, so the bench, I never had a piano that fit me. The bench was carved into the piano. There was no scooting the bench in or out. It was one piece. So I climbed in and I said, "Prince, I feel like this piano was made for me." He's like, "Oh, you should have this." I was like, anyway, he was a special person.
Did you get the piano?
Yeah.
No.
Oh no.
I think maybe I should have dated him a few more times.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely should have. I mean, my gosh. Is that how you felt, Albert, when you inherited my piano?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
Albert wants to know if the salmon was good.
Yeah,
how was the salmon?
She spit it into her napkin. She doesn't need salmon.
Oh, so the P.S., I buried the lead. The P.S. to the story was, he texted me like later and he goes, "My chef says you don't like salmon." Uh-oh. I said, "Uh-oh, I'm sorry." And he just cracked. He goes, "You're wonderful." And I was like, "I just was always taught." He goes, "You should have told me."
What did you keep?
I just was trying to choke.
In your contacts, what would because everybody's
Oh,
coded.
my God.
Everybody's coded in my phone to the point where I don't know who's texting me most of the time, and now I'm too embarrassed.
Oh, me too.
Like I code everyone to the point where I'm too embarrassed to say,
who is this? Because I know it's somebody I should know. But
I do the same thing.
So what was he under in your phone? What was the code for Prince? What was the code for Prince?
This is going to make sense to you. It was Prince, because who would believe that
Right. I was going to say, it should just be Prince.
It was Prince.
Yeah. That's so funny because Mark is in my phone under Prince. It's true.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet.
Albert wants to know, what else did you eat?
Yeah, what else did he serve?
Did he serve dessert?
Well, yeah, I can't recall what the dessert was. Well, I had a great salad, like a goat cheese balls on the salad. It was yum. And then like carrots and potatoes with the salmon. Oh, the salmon. I'm sure if you're a salmon lover, it was wonderful.
So let's talk about Wicked. So, you're like me, when you stay in this business, as long as we know everybody when they're kids. Like, Ariana Grande since she was a kid. I know Ariana Grande since she was a kid. You first collaborated together. How old was she?
Well, she came to see Wicked when she was 10 with her Nona and her mama. And she came back to my dressing room. They had won a Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS auction. So they got to come back, and she said, I want to be Glenda someday. And I said, well.
You were like, yes, yeah, right.
Aren't you cute?
Yeah, right. And Nona says, she's a wonderful singer. And I thought, oh, yeah, I'm sure she's. You know what I mean? If I had $1. And then she kind of hummed. Nona goes, sing something. You know how your relatives go. I mean, mine did it to me my whole life. Dance for grandma. Just, you always hear it. Go, go, go. So she sings something and I went, here's my bath salts and a plastic wand, and you have to have something in mind. I knew, Kelly, that she was special. And then we have worked together. We did Hairspray live together. I've been in her life for a very long time. And then in the pandemic, she phoned me and said, crying, and said, I have an audition for Wicked. And I said, for Elphaba? She said, no, for Glinda. And then we both cried. We both cried. If I had
full circle.
Yes. And honestly, people ask me, is it weird? Is it hard? No, it's not weird or hard. I know what I did. I know what I created. Okay. I did that. That was almost 22 years ago. I did it. Now someone's going to get to do it on film. And it's my mini-me in a lot of ways. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily think that, but it's actually true. She is a dork. She's like you and me. She's a dork. She is a funny. Look at her SNL. Like I've always known this.
She's amazing. And the whole family's great. Like, I love the family.
Oh, Frankie.
Oh,
I love Frankie.
God.
I love Joan. I love them all. And I'm just going to say this. She's going to be very surprising to a lot of people. And some of you some of your listenership have seen the film already and already know how amazing she is in this part. And it makes me like a proud, I'm not her mama, but like a proud auntie. And, we talk a lot, like almost every day. So I'm just that person like Carol Burnett was for me, like many, many mentors of mine have been, Julie in a way, Dolly in a way, Sandy Patty in a way, all these women who've been, now I get to be for her and a few others. And I'm really, really happy about that. It's nice to be in this position. I'm not weird about it.
Don't you think
thrilled.
It's a common misconception, and I think it's the media that does this. They want to turn women into enemies of each other. I don't know why. I think it sells. I don't know. I think it's clickbait. I don't get it. I have never met a woman in this industry. I'm trying to think of one. Oh, maybe one. There's been lately, there's always one. There's always one bad apple. It's such a rare, rare, rare thing. Like, the women I have worked with in show business have been my sisters, my aunts, my mothers. Like, they are so close to me, and still like long-term relationships. I have like relationships with my former castmates that
rival any actual birth and blood family, like close. And I feel so fortunate for that. But it's like, they don't understand. It's such a big industry. There's room for everybody at the table. You don't have to pit women against each other. That's so ridiculous.
Well, and then when you as the artist wakes up that, only person I have to compete with is myself. It's so freeing. There have been times where people have tried to pit. I'll just go right up to a woman and when we first meet and I'll just go, I'm me. I love you. Let's have fun. I've never even had to work at it that hard, just like you. And yeah, there's been, there's always one, but that's so rare. And I was just at a thing last night where I did a movie many years ago, Deck the Halls with Kristin Davis. And we were really good friends. And somehow with life, we just but to connect with her, it was like being with an older sister because she had really taken me under her wing during that filming. And I love her.
Yeah, she's great. She's a good one. I mean, you've had listen, I always say, you worked with Marisol Nichols, who I love and adore.
Kelly, isn't she special?
She's so special, but it's so funny. Like every time, there was a time in my life, and this is like pre-social media. You'll remember these times. The tabloids were the thing. And they focused on women in ways that was so crazy and unnatural. And I remember anytime Mark was on a show where he worked with a woman, I would have to go out of my way. We would always have like the cast over for dinner. And I'd be like, now, just so you know, a week after this airs, there will be an unfortunate cover story on the National Enquirer where they say, I'm horribly jealous of you. I want to prepare you because you may be new to this, but I just feel like I owe you this heads up. It's always the same. Don't take it personally. It's anybody that works with Mark I become jealous of. And I just wanted you to get ahead of it because I just like to be prepared.
I love you for that, Kelly. I love you for that.
I just want you to know.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's so great. But,
and do you know?
But it was like Marisol was
do you know
the
how
best.
good they feel?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, what was she? What'd she
because
say?
She was
what did she say?
She was like, "Oh, honey," she's like, "I've been in this because she was also in the business since she was a kid." She's like, "Have at it," But it was great because with Marisol, it's one of those things that in real time we had social media. So we would just post the three of us together out to dinner or the three of us out at some event. We didn't let them dictate any narrative, so it was a much easier time, I think. I want to talk to you about Queen of Versailles. You are bringing it to Broadway, yes?
Yes. It'll be next season.
I'm gonna say it now, Jan.
Yes.
Mark my words, it'll be another Tony for our friend Kristin Chenoweth.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I saw this documentary and I became so riveted by this family for a lot of reasons. At first, it's just the obscene wealth of it all and the obscene there's obviously something there that needs a filling up of stuff, right? There's something going on there where you cannot get enough stuff. So I'm curious, how did you get it made? Do you know the Siegel family? Tell me everything, every step. Because if you haven't seen this, listeners, there is a documentary called The Queen of Versailles. You must watch it. You're welcome in advance because once you see it, then it's you see there's the light. It's the person you were before you see Queen of Versailles, and then you are a whole other person after you see it. Correct?
It's the truth. It's the truth. I mean, when it came out in 2000, I think it was 12, Kelly, we weren't where we are now with social media, and the reality show was just kind of okay, this is kind of the hit. So she was kind of there when it all, that reality was really big. like really hitting. So what happened is in the pandemic, I went to Oklahoma to hang out. This was pre-vaccine and none of us knew what to do. And I took a risk. I won't, get sad, but my best friend in Oklahoma had taken his life. So I went to Oklahoma for the funeral. I just went ahead and took a risk with Josh. And then we went to my mom and dad's, and we stayed there for like 3 months to just be with them and hang out. It was such a blessing of a time. But anyway, Stephen Schwartz called. I had seen the documentary when it came out. So Stephen Schwartz calls me and says, I have an idea, because he's been threatening to write my next show. And he said, I've got the show. And he tells me, and I said, how do I make that something people in a musical, like, how do I make that work? And Lindsay Ferrantino, our book writer, was on there, and she said exactly where you were going, Kelly. She said, it's all about, how do you feel sorry for billionaires, and what is missing in the life? And it's something that as you watch the show, you really come to understand of what is missing and what she really needs, and and I have fallen in love with the character, much to my shock. And I have fallen in love with her. I have gotten to know her a little bit. And I'm going to tell you something. There is not a bigger heart. She might do things differently than the way you and I would, but there is not a bigger heart. Like literally, we were doing a photo shoot together to try to just get us in a shot. And she had on this gorgeous Balmain knit dress. And I said, oh, is that Balmain? And she said, yes, or Balmain, however you say it. And she said, yeah, I don't either. I'm not fancy. And I said, I love it. I said, it looks so pretty. I had one at the hotel the next day in my size. And I texted her and I said, Jackie, I don't need those kind of gifts. She goes, no, I thought about it and it would look way better on you than me. So you had to have it. That's Jackie.
Yeah.
That's Jackie. She takes care of the people. There's in the documentary, you see part of her life. I've gotten to see a little bit more of her life, but they are building the largest private home in America in Orlando. Right. So that's interesting.
So it's still happening. The house is still being built.
Yes, it's not finished. And I wonder if it ever will be. Because then what?
Right. It'll
then
always
what?
be.
But she has had a lot of loss. In our show, the Act 1 is the documentary-ish, theatrical license. But yes, in Act 2, it is what happens after that. And there's been a lot of loss and pain and heartache, not just financially, but in the family. And we start there. And that's where the good stuff comes. And she has come to see it, and it's been extremely supportive. And I said, before she saw it, I said, Jackie, I'm nervous. I don't want you to feel hurt, because we are telling your story, and there's some things in there that people do have a hard time with. And I love you, and I just don't want you hurt. And she said, I know, I hear you. And then she saw the show and she said, I'm not hurt. I'm not. Her son said to me, thank you for doing this, because I lived it. And now you're getting to see, we're not just showing the opulence, we're showing pain and what they went through as a family. And it just goes to show you, no matter how much money you have, if you lose something that's not money, what that does to you and how it changes you. And, how would you be if all of a sudden, I grew up in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, in a 1-story house, and all of a sudden I marry a billionaire and I'm $5 billion richer. And now I'm famous for doing nothing, and I'm excited because I'm experiencing it for the first time. How do you deal with the judgment, the hate, all the stuff that comes with it? It's easy for us to sit behind a computer. You and I both know what it's like to have people that don't know us judge us, right? So it's easy. And I even find myself going, oh, I would never do that. Oh, I'm not going to like that. If I had anything to say, I would say this. Okay, easy for us to judge. But until you're in someone's position, you don't know. And to me, that's the big takeaway. So that's the Queen of Versailles, and I'm really excited to present it. It's a very different piece. People that think they're going to come and hear Wicked should be warned. It's very different score. In my opinion, it's Steven's best score. It's all over the map. It shows what I do, all the things I do, but it's, I have F. Murray Abraham in it. The girl that plays my daughter, Nina White's incredible. There's some stars to be made in the show. And, if I do it right, if we all do it right, that will be what people will walk away from and see, notice.
It's really interesting when we watched the documentary as a family, and the kids were much younger then than they are now. I mean, now they're adults, but at the time they were, gosh, I want to say like maybe like 10 and 11 and 14 or something like that. So the kids, some of the kids were like not much younger or older than they were. They were like, and my sons were fascinated just by the amount of stuff. They were fascinated, the stuff. And I was like, so waste. And I was very judgy. I was like, so much waste. I was like, this is so wasteful, so wasteful. And it was Lola, my daughter, who said, I feel sorry for her. And it was so like Lola got it immediately. It was immediate. I always say like Lola has like a level of empathy that I find so different than everyone else. And she just almost immediately said, she said, oh, I feel sorry for her. But I totally watched it with like a different pair of eyes when Lola was like, listen, you heartless, judgy woman. like, why aren't you seeing what I see?
And you know what? Kelly, Lola got it. And I now get it. You get it. And also, again, she didn't that film was just going to be nothing.
Right.
And then boom, it's a hit. And she's like, hey, if they're talking about me, who cares? Let's have a good time with it.
Not realizing
Right.
that is like that double-edged, she's not a show business person. She doesn't know how that sword swings.
Works.
But you're working on this Netflix rom-com called Our Little Secret with somebody who knows all about the double-edged sword, Lindsay Lohan.
Yep.
How long have you known Lindsay?
She was probably 16 or 17. I met her at a red carpet event, and she was, I forget that a lot of those kids saw Wicked, and she was like, oh my gosh. And then I got to know her mother a little bit. And then we get this movie and she's saying, I can't believe you said yes. I'm so excited. I'm like, you can't believe I said yes. I have fallen in love with Lindsay Lohan. I already adored her before. And now I see a woman. I see a woman who is an incredible mother. Her little boy, he's scrumptious. And I see a beautiful wife. I see a great husband. I see something different. And I see, God forbid anybody give us credit for evolving.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how you did it. I definitely grew up in the business, but I grew up doing it in Oklahoma. I also didn't grow up with paparazzi in my face.
I think it was a very mean time, and I'm grateful that I was like, I was 19 years old, but I was still an adult. I was not a little kid in show business. I think growing up that way has got to be really just exhausting, and always being held to the standard that you were when you were 15 or 14, or the dumb shit you did when you were 20. It was a very cruel time, very cruel time.
I love that you say it like that. I think often if I'd had a camera in my face while at college, I'd be canceled. I say about this industry, I love this industry, but it is a little bit like dancing with the devil sometimes. Mm-hmm. Josh says to me all the time, because I just did a little, I'm always on the road, and I just did 2 weeks out there. I came back just dragging my feet like in a coma. And he said, isn't it funny? People think it's so glamorous and so amazing. Meanwhile, I'm doing a meet and greet at the airport trying to just squash down my sub.
It's so true. Well, listen, thank you for doing our podcast. I want to remind our listeners to watch Our Little Secret, greatest title ever,
on Netflix. Check out Kristin's website for upcoming tour dates. We just love you so much here.
I feel the same, girl. I just adore you. You know that.
I mean, I am yours eternally.
Same.
All right, honey. Thanks for joining us.
I love you.
Bye. Love you.
Of course.
And that's it.
Well, who's going to say it? Roz, is it your turn?
Okay. Bye, everyone. Can't wait to talk off camera next week.
Let's Talk Off Camera with Kelly Ripa is a production of Melojo Productions with help from Goat Rodeo. Our theme song is Follow Me from APM Music. From Melojo, our team is Kelly Ripa, Mark Consuelos, Albert Bianchini, Jan Chalet, Devin Schneider, Michael Halpern, Jacob Small, Roz Therian, Seth Gronquist, and Julia Desch. From Goat Rodeo, our team is Kara Schillen, Megan Nadolski, Max Johnston, Isabel Kirby McGowan, and Rebecca Seidel. Additional sound design by Terrence Bernardo. This show is powered by Stitcher.